The superhero slugfest continues in this week's episode of My Hero Academia. We're still in round 3 of the UA Sports Festival, and in this week's episode, you don't just get one battle, you don't just get 2 battles, you get 5 epic superhero fights, all leading up to the big confrontation between Ochako Uraraka and Katsuki Bakugo. If I could describe this week's episode of My Hero Academia with a single phrase, it would be the gift that keeps on giving. This was an episode that just bled style. It wasn't incredibly heart-pounding as every single battle was wrapped up really quickly. However, I just loved how fast-paced everything is moving. If this were any other anime series, especially one based on a long-running manga, each of these fights would have taken up an entire episode, and there's potential for it to get boring there. The good thing about this week's episode is that we get 5 separate battles, so there's going to be something for everyone. There's some heart-pounding action, there's some ridiculous goofy comedy, there's a little bit of fan service, and not only that, but the entire episode I think was made perfect by the fact that it's building up the battle between Ochako and Katsuki, which I honestly cannot wait to see, especially seeing the preview for next week's episode. I myself am a huge fan of Katsuki Bakugo. I absolutely love his over-the-top personality. Just the face that he makes at the end of this week's episode is brilliantly hilarious. And then you have Ochako herself, who throughout the course of the entire episode is becoming increasingly nervous over the prospect of going up against Katsuki Bakugo, a character with a very short fuse. I am incredibly intrigued to see what she's actually going to do against Katsuki, and most importantly, she's going to do it on her very own steam. See, throughout the entire episode, while Deku is watching all of these amazing matches going on, he's doing what he does best, which is over-obsess about the quirk powers and how to go up against them, and he's constantly writing in his journal. This is something that really does impress Ochako, but even when he decides to come up with a plan where she could go up against Katsuki, she decides to do it with her very own powers, without needing any help. This is her opportunity to finally prove herself, and honestly, she's turning into one of my favorite characters from the series. I'm very conflicted for the next fight. On one hand, I want Katsuki to keep moving forward so I can see more fights from him, but I don't want to see Ochako lose because I want to see her character grow and become much more competent, aside from just being the token female of the series. With that in mind, that's just a small part of this week's episode. This one just pours on the action like syrup over pancakes. In the very first battle, we have Denki, the goofy electric wielder, going up against a brand new character by the name of Ibara Shiozaki, who is this one female character who's incredibly gorgeous and has a very unique trait. The fact that her hair is made up of thorny vines, and she can actually control these in a lot of interesting ways. Basically, she's kind of like the poison ivy of My Hero Academia, if you know what I mean by that. She has the ability to control her hair, detach it from her body, use it as shields, use it as weaponry, and she's not only able to block all of Denki's electrical abilities, but she single-handedly destroys him by tying him up and winning the match looking like a boss. What I really love about her character is, again, it's another demonstration that the creator of the series can make a lot of techniques that are very similar to each other, yet very different. I'm very much reminded of the Wood Ninja Kamui, who has a lot of similar abilities, and you can honestly see this girl actually becoming like his Robin. The Robin to his Batman. I keep making Batman references, but it's real easy in a show about superheroes. The second battle of the episode is where things get really funny, because you have Tenya Ida going up against Mei Hatsume. Now, Mei in this week's episode is awesome. I especially love the fact that we actually get to learn about her quirk. You know that weird, freaky-looking eyes that she has, the ones that actually look like targets? That's because of her quirk, which is known as Zoom. It allows her to see at very long distances, upwards of 5 kilometers at a time. And because she's right here in front of all of these amazing people and these scouts and these companies, she wants to show off all of her babies, her special equipment. And she goes as far as to actually setting up this microphone so that she can sort of do this really ridiculous presentation and using Tenya as a scapegoat to show all of it off. She even goes as far as to actually tricking him and forcing him to use some of the equipment that she created herself in an effort to level the playing field, but really it's all just a ploy to show off all of her cool techniques. And throughout the course of this battle, which is basically her just dodging Tenya, she's just demonstrating all of the abilities of the equipment that she's used, how it works, and just trying to sell it to any prospective buyer. And it's friggin' hilarious. Nobody takes her seriously. Even the companies that she's wanting to actually sell to, they think she's just a way too over the top. And the fact that she goes for like over 10 minutes doing this and Tenya is not even able to touch her, honestly is a testament to the things that she has actually created, because Tenya is really damn fast, but at the same time, the equipment that he has been given by May has actually sort of thrown him off a little bit. And again, Tenya is played for laughs, and he does manage to make it to the next round, because when she's done showing off her equipment, she just sort of walks out of bounds, and that's it. This was basically a platform to hawk her shit. In round 3, we have Mina Ashido going up against Yuga Aoyama. Now, Yuga is a character that, frankly, I just don't like very much. He's probably my least favorite member of the class, mostly just because I can't stand his personality, I don't like his design, and I think his powers are just there to be played for laughs. The fact that he fires freaking lasers from his belly button, and that every single time he does it, he does this ridiculous thrusting motion, it's hard to take the character seriously. Mina, on the other hand, is a lot of fun. Not only does she have an incredibly eye-catching design, but watching her fight and dodge Yuga's lasers in this episode was frankly quite thrilling. I really loved it. Her abilities are unique, her look is unique, and that's what makes her one of the coolest characters from the show, and it was oh so satisfying when she uppercutted that bastard right in the chin. The fourth battle of the episode was one of my personal favorites. A lot of that is owed to the fact that it does feature what is probably my favorite character from the series, which is Fumikage. This guy is freaking devastatingly powerful, and he's going up against Momo, a hero who supposedly has a lot of skills. She was chosen personally by a lot of big higher-up people in the series, so you'd expect her to be one hell of a threat. And despite the fact that she can pull out a number of weapons from seemingly nowhere, Fumikage just absolutely destroys her, pushing her back against her shield and getting her out of bounds in just a matter of seconds. It's at that moment that people realize this is a guy that you don't want to mess with. I'd go as far as to say maybe the strongest students in Class A, if you want to count even Izuku, would be Izuku, Fumikage, Shoto, and of course, Katsuki Bakugo. These are the guys that you're going to have to look out for, and that makes every single battle with them amazingly interesting. And then we have the final battle of the episode, which is really funny because it's continuing to be a play on the fact that Eijiro and Tetsu have basically the same exact abilities, just somewhat different in how they work, with Eijiro being able to harden his body and Tetsu being able to put this like weird metallic armor all over himself, and basically they just have a big fucking punch fest with each other. They just lay into each other for like a good couple of minutes, which is really well animated. Every single time that they clash with each other, there's like this little mini explosion that actually forces both of them back, but they just keep coming back for punishment, and it looks awesome. And in another hilarious twist, the fact that their abilities are so similar and even their introductions are practically the same, they both come to a stalemate and knock each other out at the same time, which means this match is a complete draw. The end of the episode is basically the build-up to the battle with Ochako and Katsuki as they go out onto the arena preparing for one hell of an epic fight. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of My Hero Academia? This was just a super exciting episode of the series, definitely taking advantage of its incredibly diverse cast and showing us some really interesting battles. I can't remember the last time that I've seen a series like My Hero Academia where you got to see this many unique battles in a single episode. And while I would like some of them to be a little more intricate and go on a little bit longer, this was a really satisfying one right here, which delivered not only on the action, but the humor as well. It's hard to choose a favorite character from this episode because every single one got to do something really interesting and everyone had sort of a moment to shine. And it also speaks volumes for how every single battle was completely different, with some of them going on a little bit longer and some of them just being wrapped up immediately, also making it painfully clear not to mess with some of the other classes. Ibara Shiozaki seems like she's going to be a very powerful character, and her overall personality is a lot of fun. She comes across as sort of like this self-righteous nun, At least that's the way that I look at her, but everybody's just completely enamored with her looks, and I can't wait to see who she's going to be going up against next. Then you have Mei Hatsume, who just continues to be such an infectious and fun character. I love her. I love the fact that she wears her personality on her sleeves, and she's not shy about what it is that she's actually trying to do. And I love the fact that she does have a unique quirk, which is tied to her weird, freaky-deaky looking eyes, which is sort of perfect. You know, this way she can sort of constantly spy in and look at the reactions of every single person that she's trying to sell to, which made that scene when she looked up at all of those companies at the bottom of the stadium and they're all the way at the top make a lot more sense. That and her just messing with Tenya in this episode was really funny, especially when she decided to just quit the match, and just her reaction to telling Tenya that she was just using him was just great. Absolutely love that one right there. And then there is the battle between Mina and You Go, which I also really loved. Mostly because I just loved seeing Yuga get his smug ass beat. It was just satisfying. Simple as that. Fumikage is overwhelmingly powerful. He's such a cool character. He totally fits that bill, despite the fact that he does look kind of goofy, having a normal human body and a crow's head, but his ability to summon that dark shadow creature is just so freaking badass, and it looks really cool too. I love the sketchiness of it, if you know what I mean by that. And then there's frickin' Eijiro going up against Tetsu, and it's just funny. That's the whole joke of their two characters, is that they are just incredibly similar to each other, yet they are incredibly different at the same time. But it's just funny that they basically did like the same techniques against each other until they both got knocked out. It was really funny. This was a great episode which featured a lot of action and an amazing build-up to the next battle of the series, which frankly I think is probably, for me personally, right at this moment, the most hype moment of the second season. This is the moment where I'm like, oh my god, I cannot wait to see the next episode. As soon as this one finished and I saw that preview, I was blown away by what I saw. The preview looks like it's going to be so intense. We're going to be delving maybe into her backstory a little bit more, and I can't wait to see how Katsuki is actually going to, like, get involved in this battle as well. Like, how far he's actually going to go. Like, if he's actually going to go to the links to blow Ochako up, which is going to be insane. This one was great. It featured good animation, lots of good action, humor, and a great cliffhanger ending. This was a solid episode right here. I have no complaints with it. It was pure entertainment from beginning to end. 5 out of 5 from me. Check it out, guys. You heard my thoughts about this week's episode of My Hero Academia. Make sure to tell me what you guys thought about it in the comments section below, and what you hope to see from the next episode of the series. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things My Hero Academia anime related. Make sure to tell me a comment telling me what you thought about this week's episode of the series. If you have any questions for me or anything you want to talk about, I'm always down for a good conversation. And if you did like this video, please take the second to just hit the like button. It helps us out a lot. If you didn't like the review, give it a thumbs down. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay down, baby.